Southeast Asia. With over 70% of its area as coastal land, maritime trade was a predominant factor that led to its socio-economic development. The Hindu and Buddhist religions that originated in the Indian subcontinent found immense popularity in the region as it swept across east of Asia, owing to its holistic, spiritual, and uniting principles that removed social hierarchy and were believed to govern the culture of the people. Having both originated from the Indian continent, both religions, while maintaining their fundamental differences in alignments, were syncretic in nature. Religious syncretism also led to the common alignment of shaping the physical aspects of their lives in accordance to the architectural principles. The mandala, which represented the three separate zones of the world of the gods, the world of the purified, and the world of the mortals, became the main principles that many temples were modeled after, adopting a tripartite structure both in plan and section that became a ritualistic progression of man reaching God. The temple entrances were built facing the immediate sea and the rears facing the west. The quick modernization process during the colonial years in Southeast Asia meant that European urban planning marginalized the ideal orientation and cosmic principles of the temples. As a result, many later temples such as the Sri Mariamman and the Sri Lakshminarayan temples in Singapore were forced to adopt changes to style and location to suit urban plans. The Sri Mariamman temple faced many challenges during its construction phase. Attempts to build the temple at its original site were thwarted due to colonial planning. From its original proposed location on Telok Ayer Bay, it was finally constructed far inland due to the colonists' plans. The original site was constrained by a lack of fresh water supply, integral in conducting Hindu rituals within the temple grounds. Despite the challenges imposed by modern infrastructure of Singapore, much of the temple's architecture adheres to tradition. Despite being inland, it orients itself towards the sea. Its entrance faces the east and its rear the west. The building is set in a square plan with a large mandala diagram painted on the roof of the prayer hall, and its diagonal plan reflects a journey towards enlightenment from the zone of the man to the zone of the gods. This accommodation of modern process increased in later years when politics and economics gained greater significance. During the 1960s, the need for a place of worship for Hindu settlers and residences in the Rochor and Serangoon area created a need to build a temple. However, due to both areas already densely occupied with shophouses, it was not possible to construct a traditional temple amongst the already established infrastructure of the area. As such, several residential shophouses were purchased for the Sri Lakshminarayan temple. The temple's construction in a post-colonial era that was ripe with the industrialization boom led to the incorporation of a modern execution on traditional religious principles. Although contemporary in its design, the temple remains true to the traditional architecture of Hindu temples by incorporating traditional elements in its design. The multi-story building aligns itself with the notion of having a tripartite structure. On its roof, three stupas crown the northeastern corner, marking the most important section of the mandala plan. In the later years, the imposition of modernist movements bore greater compromise on the traditional approach to religion, leading to the commodification of religion, often seeing the proliferation of modernized concepts and images superimposed onto religion to relate to newer generations. An extreme deviation from traditional Buddhist architecture is exemplified in Wat Rong Kun in Chiang Rai, Thailand. Its blinding white exterior, representing the purity of Lord Buddha, differs from typical auspicious colors such as red or gold. It makes use of the interpretation of white in contemporary art, replacing a modern concept in a traditional context. Another disconcerting feature is the appearance of modern comic and movie icons, an obvious indicator of the invasion of modernization. Despite having an extremely modernistic touch, the temple preserves its traditionalism by incorporating symbolic structures in its architecture, such as the pagoda at the end of the spiritual journey to reach enlightenment, and encompasses a three-part journey. The journey begins with the realm of a man, where the needy hands emerge from the ground to signify the need for spiritual salvation. A bridge across the water follows, signifying spiritual cleansing, after which one journey culminates in a temple in which sits the Buddha statue. While many devout followers lament the infiltration of capitalist modernized images onto religion, one must ponder its significance in today's modernized world. With technology and science increasingly championing the power of reason today, many religions have seen their numbers of followers stagnate or decline. Considering the compromise and accommodation of temple locations and orientations in the colonial era, should one consider commodification a similar compromise to remain relevant in a modern world? One can observe that although several principles have been compromised in modernity, religion at its core has remained true to its teachings and principles. As a physical embodiment, however, the architecture of today presents a certain image of itself to the rest of the world. It remains to be seen as to what extent such architectural changes suit the changes of the world today, and to which extent do they begin to present religion in an unsuitable manner.